Hello and welcome to another That Random Model. This week's episode, the 24th Nissan Cefiro Cruising G Wagon with Euro Grill. This is Fujimi's Just Tuning series. This was a special series that you could get with some aftermarket accessories so that you can customize your car. As you can see, you've got the cell phone. Yeah, this is what a cell phone looked like in the 80s. Oh, this is late 90s. So this is what a cell phone looked like in the early 90s to mid 90s, because this was a kit that I think originated back in like 94, 95. Aftermarket steering wheel, rims, you'll see. Now, if we open the box and look in, I know a lot of people, I hear a lot of hate on Fujimi. They're not as detailed, or they're lacking in the build quality. I've rarely had a Fujimi that I did not like. Usually they have a good their accessories or their options parts are plentiful. Usually they have quite a few things that you can customize to make your car your own. Try to see real quick through here if I could show you what I mean, because this is a catalog that would come with these kits. As you can see, it's just a two-page, 4-color catalog. But let's see real quick if we can get an idea of what we're talking about here. We'll start right here. A lot of people in the United States might not know what this is, but people in Australia and Japan will. This is a Nissan Stagea wagon. In fact, this is the Nissan Stagea wagon. This is the Autech customized version. So this is going to be the same kit, but this is going to have different rims. This is going to have a different front end. It might have, this is going to have a side skirt on it and maybe a different rear bumper or an addition. This is going to be something that you have a few different extra parts. The steering wheel is going to be a little different, maybe a couple pieces inside, like the seats. And then the decals are going to be quite neat. So you can get either of these two kits, but your options start to become a little bit more unlimited at that part. Limited, but you get the gist. Here's golf. You know I like golf. Here's some Golfs. This is a VR6 version of the GLI, I believe, the CLGLI, and this is the GL version. So again, you've got a little bit different decals. You have a little different, few different parts in here. But if you ever get your hands on one of these old Fujimi kits, and they come with these little catalogs, this is a real treat. So I recommend it to anyone. And of course, any of these kits are going to be fine. Most of them are going to be what's called curbside. They're not going to have engines in them. They're going to, basically, the doors won't open, the hood won't open. Nothing, it looks like what you would see on the road if you walked up to a car in a city and you saw it against the curb, on the side of the curb, hence curbside. You're going to see a car that's just sitting there that might have tinted windows. It might have some accessories inside. It might have a two-tone paint job like this Mitsubishi Starion. Oh boy, that is something to look at. And here's one thing I like about Fujimi, probably more than anything else. You get the base and mid-trim versions of some of the cars that are in their fleet. If you can pick up this EK4 series Civic hatchback, then you've got molding that you can paint. You've got maybe dress-up rims, something that's more in the S or SI trim. You've got some nice stuff. Here's a base model Daihatsu Midget 2. You've got the stock rims. You've got the spare tire up front. You've got the base in the back. The base bedside. Whereas this one, you've got not only the options of the skis, you can barely see them right there, and you got fog lights. You've got the optional cover for the spare, as well as these jazzy little 90s flare decals. So personally, I love Fujimi. They've got this bike series. They also have one of the most intensive and diverse collections of most cars. If you want a rare car from something, and you know, Ferrari or Porsche, Lamborghini isn't going to cut it. You want something that looks like something you might see every day. This is where I would start, is Fujimi, and the quality is fine. The quality is right up there. It's not the same quality as Tamiya, but it's pretty good. I see in the chat Maggie saying hi. Hello, Maggie. Thank you for joining us. And starting with the instructions and the kit, you can see what you got. It even, I like the grayed out parts, showed either optional parts or parts that you would omit, meaning you've got parts for another build. You've got your paint call out and decal placement of the finished look. You've got your build. Now, you might notice Japanese kits are generally going to have right-hand drives. This is not a problem if you live in Japan, Australia, England, you know, one of the 4 or 5 countries that have right-hand drive vehicles. But in the rest of the world, this isn't exactly the setup you're gonna want. But this might be your only option to build this if you really want this this Cefiro wagon. And real quick, as you go through, you might see some of these just tuning parts make an appearance. You've got the steering wheel right here. Down here, you've got the CD, excuse me, the CD disc changer. It said it right there. I can't even see. You've got your old 90s navigation system. Something there. There's a controller for your audio. There's your telephone. Love the 90s. Just love it. And then final assembly. So let's see what it looks like inside. I don't want to forget the decals. This is what you get when you get a I don't even know if I'm saying this right. Cefiro. We had a Fiero in the United States, and I think they sold them in Europe. And this is your Cruising G version emblems. So right here, here's your decals for your navigation, your stereo, some trim pieces. You've got your I like to call them dealer plates or advertiser plates, the ones that either will say Nissan Cefiro, and then of course your Japanese registration plates and your Japanese registration stickers for their either what do they call it? VAT, I think, is what they call it in Britain. Your registration, your taxes, shows that you're legal to drive. There's your right-hand drive. Let's open this up. Let's make it a full-on video. Now, as I open this up, you might be asking yourself, well, that's nice, but what in Cowabunga news is a Cefiro? Well, if you're asking yourself that, you might know it in other areas like the United States and many other parts of the world as a Nissan Maxima. And right about now, you might be saying, "I remember the Nissan Maxima. Yeah, I remember the late 90s, early 2000s Nissan Maxima." And then you say, "There wasn't a wagon version in my country." And you would probably be right. I believe that this is a JDM only body style. Now, the Maxima that this was based on, Cefiro was released in Japan from, I believe, 1997 to, I'm sorry, yes, 1997 to 99? Very few years, 3-4 years at the most. Squishy tires. Very few years, but The oh, what was I thinking? It was released from 97 to 99, a few years, but it actually sold quite well in the United States. Nissan isn't Toyota. They aren't known for their quality as much. They're not known for a lot of things, but in the 90s, in the 90s and early 2000s, Nissan kind of positioned itself as the sporty alternative to the big three Japanese makes: Toyota, Honda, and Nissan. You had your Toyota popularity, your Honda quality, and your Nissan performance. And so Nissan, they kind of boosted the range as a performance, or all their cars as a performance division. Even though in some countries they had, like in the United States, they have the Infinity mark, which is a dressed up Nissan. In fact, this has an Infinity version. In the United States, it was sold as the Infinity i30. Here is your Euro grille. As you can see, it is a molded differently. When you have something that's molded differently, especially with Fujimi, usually that means that there's an optional part somewhere. So you might like the wagon, but you might say, well, I don't like the European grille look. I want maybe a JDM grille or whatever other option there is out there. So you might look around to see if there's another Cefiro wagon, or I don't know if they have a sedan version of this, but if there's a couple other Cefiro wagons that that they had in the range, and you can pick one up and see if they have a different grille. I don't know if I want to spend that kind of money. I kind of like that Euro grille. Here are one of your just tuning options. This is BBS style rims with a red ring that goes around it. It's molded in two pieces, as you can see, so that you don't have to mask and mask and paint. You just either paint or take care of the rim, and then paint or gloss cover on the ring, put it together, put the tires on, put it together, and have your just tuning Cefiro wagon. Getting back to the Nissan range on this, Maxima has been sold in many parts of the world since the in the 70s. I believe they called their version either Bluebird or something to that effect. In the United States, I believe it started off as the 9 series, 9, and then went to the 910. And then you have your seat options. You've got your muffler. And when you put these together, be very careful where you go to, either where you display your kit or what model contest you go to, because some people might try to steal your catalytic converters. Catalytic converters on models go for lots of money. So you got your setup for the transmission. This looks like a rear-wheel drive, but when I did my research on it, this said that this was based on a front drive platform that did not have all-wheel drive. So I'm a little confused. I mean, see with my own eyes, I got a transmission that's pointing to the back. So, and a rear that's not, is that a differential? I don't know my car parts. You can just hate me right now, but there's your rear pieces. Now, what we all came for, the just tuning parts. Now, Fujimi also sold these separately, like an a la carte, so that if you bought, let's say you bought that Daihatsu Midget, and you said, you know, if I only had some just tuning parts that didn't come with any of the versions that they sold, and they sold quite a few versions. There's even an electric racing version. It's actually sitting right up there. But they sold quite a few versions of the Midget 2. As you saw, there's probably 2 mint green ones that you might have spotted, as well as that blue base model. So here you have your aftermarket mufflers. You have this is your navigation, your controller. This is some kind of audio component as such. You could paint it. You could paint it and display it probably with a little coiled thing coming out to make it look like a radar detector or whatever it was. It wasn't listed in the kit. Here's your phone. Here's your CD changer and your steering wheel that you can see is molded in different sizes, so it makes it easy to mask and paint in different colors, as well as your oversized muffler pipes. And there you have it. So I am not one to build things box stock, and to tell you the truth, as I put many of these pieces away, to tell you the truth, I look at this box art, and I think Fujimi has some pretty good box art. I think this is a nice picture. I like this. I like this a lot. Not crazy about the red rims, rings on the rims. But ironically enough, I might want to go with more of it, and it's hard to see from this picture. This is actually a green, like almost like a metallic grayish army green. It looks pretty nice, and as much as I like that color, I might actually want to go with something that you would see more in the United States at this time on these Maximas, and that's a gold. Boring gold wagon. But maybe with these rims and maybe with a couple other options on that. So that is the Nissan Cefiro. Now, back to the story of the Cefiros. The Cefiros actually were first launched in 1988. So it was based on the Maxima. Oh, I picked up the decals and I turned them over and saw that here's your BBS decals for your rims, so you can have the rings and the hub covers on that. So nice, very nice. Getting back to the story, so back in the 80s, Nissan and Toyota were embroiled in a price war. And I mean, now you think of these cars as nothing but your popular boring cars, and with a few exceptions. You've got the new Supra and the 8.6, things like that. But at the time, in the 80s and 90s, these cars were quite popular with in the sports aftermarket and sports crowds. And so your first generation Cefiro was loosely based on the previous version Maxima, which in the United States was a front wheel drive, and they branded it as the 4DS, 4-door sports car. The Cefiro version was rear wheel drive to compete directly against what's called the Toyota triplets. You had your Mark II, your Chaser, and your Cresta, not Cressida, Cresta. In Japan, these were Japanese only sedans that were sold. So you had those three. You had Nissan had the Cefiro, they had the Laurel, and they had the Leopard that would compete directly against the Toyota triplets. So you had a real competition between the two largest Japanese makers at the time. You kind of think of it as like their version of the pony sedan wars, like Ford and Chevy. So these would dominate the tracks, especially in early stages of what we now call drifting and other types of private races at the time. And these were quite popular with aftermarket tuners, things like that. So it's a fun subject. I mean, you might look at it and say, boring wagon, and two, who cares about Nissan Maxima? But this is actually something that I'm looking forward to making. I say that on all my videos because I look forward to making every single one of these. This one is no exception. It's not high on my list right now, so I'm probably going to try to get to finish a few things. One of the things I want to finish is this is a little preview of what's coming up pretty soon. This is a Nissan. Really? This is a Ferrari Testarossa engine that I've styled myself with a different type of air cleaner based on the Singer version that they use for the Porsches, because I like resto mods. So that is something I'm working on right now. That's on my workbench. Something I'm definitely going to try to have getting ready for videos. I want to try to finish some kits so I can have some build videos up on my Fridays. Won't have them every week, but I'm going to try to continue unboxing series and review series. Try to get something, even get back to some of my builds. This is a little preview. Whoops. This is a little preview of the Star Destroyer that's coming along. Kind of where I left it last time, except this is your command structure. You can see the original piece that went right here, along with another piece from another Bandai kit. And if you put them together, that's a little preview of what's coming up next. This is going to be a my own design of interdictor cruiser. So got some things coming. I've got a people have been asking about the Rosenbauer Panther fire truck build. That is coming. I haven't given up on it. It's just I've had so much going on. I've moved across the country, which yes, I am still whining about, but yes, I moved across the country, which has set back some of my projects, but we'll figure it out. So thank you all for coming. I see some people in the chat, and I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you all for coming, and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everybody, and I really enjoy this hobby, and I like sharing it with others. So please stay tuned. Let's see if we can get a boring gold wagon painted. And with that, I'm out of here. Enjoy the hobby. Take care. Bye.